Today we are talking about the different types of renewable energy and some of the advantages and disadvantages associated with each type. But first, let us point out the following facts. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only changed from one form to another. This is called energy transfer, and this is the law of conservation of energy. All renewable energy can be traced back to the sun, except for tidal and geothermal energy. Now let's look at the types of renewable energy. Renewable energy is so called because it is literally renewable, unlike fossil fuels such as peat and coal and nuclear fuels. These are non-renewable. Geothermal energy is energy that is released from the Earth's crust. As you go deeper in the crust, the temperature increases, especially in tectonically active areas. Water pumped down wells deep into the crust is heated and re-emerges out as steam, which powers turbines. In Iceland, they use geothermal energy to heat office blocks and greenhouses to grow bananas. One advantage of this type of energy is that it is reliable, constantly available, it is low carbon emission source, and there is no byproduct. However, it is quite expensive to build steam-powered plants and drill the well in the first place. The energy in wind is used to turn turbines which generate electricity. Wind farms can be found both offshore and onshore. An average wind farm can generate significant quantities of electricity in windy locations. However, they are expensive to build and maintain. They do not look nice and they are very noisy. At the beginning of the film, we told you that a lot of renewable energy comes from the sun. Radiated heat from the sun heats up air masses over the land and the sea at different rates. The hot air masses rise, causing an area of low pressure. The air moves from areas of high pressure to areas of low pressure. Wind. Wave and tidal energy are generated by the actions of the sea. Wave energy is generated by the actions of wind on the sea, whereas tidal energy is generated by the actions of the gravitational pull of the moon on the sea. In wave machines, the kinetic energy and the rise and fall of the water are converted into electrical energy. Tidal barrages generate electricity from the rush of tide water through the turbines. Tidal energy is very predictable and can be harnessed, but you would have to barrage most of the coast of England to generate sufficient amounts of energy. It can also have a negative impact on the environment, especially wading birds in estuaries. Wave energy is relatively cheap, but it is unpredictable. Photovoltaic cells, or solar cells, convert sunlight into electrical energy. They are used in places with long daylight hours as they are activated by light, not heat. The only disadvantage is that they do not work in the dark. They are widely used in things like calculators. Solar heating panels are usually found on roofs in warm countries. They use the heat to heat water which runs through black tubes at the back of the panel. This water can be used for heating or bathing. They are very good in warm countries but are not so efficient in cold countries. Biogas is generated by decomposing waste and animal dung. It is burned in a gas-fired power station to generate electricity. An advantage is that the raw materials are waste products and cheap. The disadvantage is that nobody wants a power station fueled by dung in their backyard. Biomass, on the other hand, is burning wood, straw and waste plant materials. A biomass power station works in the same way as a coal-fired power station. It heats water which turns into steam to drive a turbine. The advantage of biomass is that it uses waste plant materials. However, there is a problem in developing countries where farmers grow biomass as opposed to food to feed the population. Now let's look at hydroelectric power generated by natural or man-made waterfalls. Rainwater is collected in reservoirs. When power is required, water is released through a turbine which generates electricity. This is a very environmentally friendly process, using the water cycle to generate electricity. However, the flooding of valleys to create reservoirs leads to the destruction of habitats and displacement of local people. The heat from the sun drives the water cycle, which produces rain to fuel the mountain reservoirs. Now that we have looked at all the renewable energies, we would like to tell you about the latest scientific advancements in renewable fuels. The following film shows how water can be used to generate electricity chemically. Imagine a world where you can run your car on rainwater. Well, not exactly. You need pure water, but a water purification system and rainwater could handle this problem. This car runs on pure water. Water is the source for the hydrogen and oxygen. Electrolysis is where you convert water into hydrogen and oxygen. This one's filling up with hydrogen and this one's filling up with oxygen. The hydrogen is pumped through that tube and the oxygen is pumped through that tube. They meet at the cell in the middle where they are separated by a polymer membrane covered in platinum. The platinum in this membrane is the catalyst. It converts hydrogen into hydrogen ions that moves across the membrane and reacts with oxygen to create water. The electrons then flow through a circuit to power a motor. Reverse the electrolysis and turn the oxygen and hydrogen back into water and electricity. It works! This is a large cell that can produce 60 watts, about enough energy to power a light bulb. So if you think this is all something for the future, you're wrong. London buses are already using this technology.